Hello and welcome to the debate. I'm your host Maqbool with you at PTV World. In today's show, we're going to be taking a look at the developing story with reference to what has happened with regards to the aftermath of the unfortunate and condemnable terrorist attack in Pahalgam, after which we have seen that India has taken a number of measures against Pakistan and has acted unilaterally and in violation of international norms and standards, and of course has also put forward a threatening posture that has been recognized and talked about in the National Security Committee meeting today that was held under the chairmanship of the Prime Minister, with of course important stakeholders from military installations and the government sitting together with regards to what needs to be done. Pakistan has of course put forward responsible statements and exercised a lot of restraint with the kind of posture that has been brought forward by India. But of course, with regards to the measures such as not continuing with the Indus Water Treaty or moving forward with severing of diplomatic ties and giving Pakistani diplomatic staff 48 hours to leave India, are measures that of course Pakistan is taking very, very seriously and has also responded with a lot of other measures with regards to what has happened in the National Security Committee meeting today, including of course also giving deadlines of 30th April for the Indian visa holders in Pakistan, and of course with the exception of Sikh pilgrims and others, and of course with reference to diplomatic ties as well, and given of course the kind of situation that exists, also not allowing and giving Pakistan's airspace to any travel usage by India or its airlines, and then of course with regards to moving forward in terms of what needs to be done, they have very clearly pointed out that any particular threat or any action taken against the sovereignty of Pakistan will be met with reciprocity, and of course reminded once again of what has happened in Pulwama, what has happened previously, and the kind of evidence that we have against the kind of false flag operations that existed and that India has continued with, and that is what is the resolve and the preparedness of Pakistan Armed Forces, and that is what is going to be met even this time around with even more seriousness with regards to what has happened. And Pakistan has also talked about how there is also a possibility of moving away from bilateral agreements such as similar agreement if India does not reconsider what it has already decided to do, with of course severing of trade ties and other measures that have also been taken in this regard. And we'll take a look more closely at what all of them entail, but also in particular the kind of developing situation that exists and what is going to be the impact, not just in terms of our bilateral relationship with India, but of course the way that that presents itself regionally and internationally, and how these measures are going to be put forward with reference to international platforms and UN Security Councils and other such areas where we have previously also put forward the way state-sponsored terrorism and false flag operations have been perpetrated by the BJP government. So that's going to be our focus in the debate today. For this and more, as always, in the studios, I've been joined by senior analysts Farrukh Pitafi and Faisal. And we've also been joined online by former Ambassador Dr. Jamil Khan. Thank you very much, Dr. Jamil, for being part of the debate and taking your time out for such an important issue. And I want your perspective, given what you make of the kind of steps that have been first announced by India with the false accusation and propaganda against Pakistan in the aftermath of the deadly and condemnable attack in Pahalgam, that Pakistan has also condemned and of course expressed its condolences over too. And then of course in the ways that Pakistan has responded to it, and with the National Security Committee coming ahead with its own decisions and actions in response to what India has done. I want your take in terms of the way that diplomatic and of course these bilateral ties between countries exist, and particularly with India and Pakistan.
Well, this statement, what has been issued after the National Security Council meeting and the press followed by a press conference, is quite well calibrated, quite well measured within the framework of the norms of diplomatic customs, and also within the framework of the Vienna Convention. So all those factors, I think those who had authored this agenda, those who had later on written the statement, they must have catered for all these points, and accordingly that has been issued. Basically, Pakistan did not really do anything until India had started issuing knee-jerk statements against Pakistan, and also the measures which are taken and conveyed to our Commission in India. We took about 24 hours, we deliberated it, we calculated it, we calibrated it, and after that we had our meeting, National Security Council meeting, and followed by the statement which we have issued. And that statement covers almost everything that gives our intention, that is the perspective of our foreign policy. And what are those cardinal points? Basically, we have mentioned that the treaty suspension, we don't really, we reject it because there are legal grounds to it. All the articles and the clauses, everything what is there in the treaty, the clause of walking out from the treaty or exiting from the treaty, or for that matter suspending the treaty, is not there. And there was a purpose of keeping that, because this was such an important significant treaty. The other one of this nature is the Nile basin water treaty, the arrangements what Egypt and Ethiopia has. So these are, but then Indus Water Treaty is the one which has withstood the wars also, just because it was so well worded, so structured, and its guarantors like World Bank, they also stood behind it. So this time along, the Indians. With the decision, again, it appears that it was a knee-jerk decision, that they have announced that they are going to suspend it without having any legal force behind it. They have made that announcement. So rightly so, that was the first and important point, that the Pakistan did rejected that. And now there are forums available to Pakistan how to really contest that and what are the provisions available. We can discuss it in the subsequent discussion. And then more importantly, Kashmir cause, which we've been always been keeping it within the framework of international law. We've been repeating it time and again. Consistently, we've been putting across our point in General Assembly and all the international forums that Kashmir, it's the right of the self-determination. It's absolutely in accordance with the United Nations Security Council resolutions, in accordance with international law, that they have that. And also, they have the right of the freedom movement struggle, like other countries and other regions, the people they had it, and accordingly, there was a decision made, and there was a right of self-determination, and they chose their fate and their course of their leading their life. Equally, we are also declaring that, and nothing outside the framework of the international law. Then the rest of the points are basically reciprocity. The Indians have decided that they would cancel the visa. We have canceled the visa. The Indian decided that Pakistani should scale down, and they have declared personnel non grata, the components of the defense attaché and others. We also reciprocated that. Again, that's a norm. That's the norm of the reciprocity, diplomacy, and we did it accordingly. The way they have given for 48 hours, they have also given 48 hours. So, and then the world knows that Pakistan always have condemned all forms and all kinds of terrorism in its all forms and manifestation. This statement, this National Security Council, they also mentioned about that. One step we have taken, which is our sovereign right, that we have also closed our airspace. We know that India, they use our airspace uh, so very frequently that we don't even use their airspace, even 5% of what they use our airspace. So we have closed that, and rest of it is the reciprocity again, the Wagah border and the we again showed our the maturity of not walking out from Simla agreement, although in Simla agreement you can do that. There are clauses available, unlike in water treaty, but we wanted to give that much time to India really think about it and the world to realize about it. That's why our leadership did not really choose to do that, although they have mentioned, our Deputy Prime Minister has mentioned it in the press conference, that we refrain to do that as now, but subsequently, once it scales up further and India doesn't really stop there, then we'll we have the right, uh, we reserve the right to really take other measures. The most significant and the worrisome for the entire region and the world is that Pakistan very clear and in a very kind manner. They have said that 24 crore means about 240 million people, they cannot be deprived of their right of water, and it would tantamount to declaring a war, which the one which I expect that Pakistan, and rightly so, there are international law. Peacekeeping law is there, rules 1966, the UN Convention for International Border Forces, and there are other customary and international law, more importantly, Indus Water Treaty. So within that framework, if you stop water for such a large number of people, uh, population, then the country can always take the measures and can really enter as a declaration of what is a war basically. The war is an aggression. The water, if is used as a weapon, then it's more than an aggression. So this is one point that the I feel that people be thinking about it, and particularly the countries who matter more, P5 countries. And I am expecting that the Security Council would have its session, extraordinary session, or soon they are going to have a session to calibrate, because it's very clearly dilated upon in the United Nations Charter, right in the first chapter, that the peace and peace of the entire world, if it's seen to be disturbed, then the Security Council will call for the session. And in this case, India does not really say something about it, or see to the point that they either come back to the Indus Water Treaty, or satisfy the world that they are going to take those steps, which they have almost given the indication by
Right.
constructing the two dams. Just the last 30 seconds, by constructing
Yes.
the dams like the Rattle Dam and the Kishan Ganga Dam, where they have increased the storage capacity, and that shows the indication. And the statement of Modi, like water and blood cannot flow together. So all those factors, one bears in mind, one can very conveniently draw the line and can interpret the statement which has been issued by Pakistan in that context.
Right, absolutely. And that of course, is extremely valid. But Faisal, I also want your take on this because while, of course, this is something that Pakistan is doing very, very responsibly, is doing in reciprocity, and of course, these actions have been taken by India first, and they are, of course, part of a very threatening posture. And we have made it very clear in the past also through our actions and with these statements as well that Pakistan is fully prepared. But I want your take in terms of the possibilities that exist in the current scenario with the ways things are going, particularly also the kind of rhetoric and stances that are coming out from the people and the politicians, in particular in the government in India, and the kind of aggressive stances that they've had in the past, and the kind of false flag operations we know that they have carried out previously as well, and the kind of direction in which they seem to be taking the situation.
Yes, and obviously, first of all, if we look at the resolve from Pakistan side or rebuttal from Pakistan side, of course, it's tit for tat, and I think that's how it should be when there are two countries that are head on. Of course, if one country tries to be hegemon towards the other one, of course, the other country has to reply it with the attack as well. And in this whole scenario, of course, the statement which has come from Pakistan side, that is absolutely nothing but a reply to the statement which actually came from across. And if Atari and Wagah are going to be shut down from their side, of course from our side they will be shut down as well. If airspace is going to be shut down from the other side, of course we will do that, do the same. And if they are going to remove our citizens from their own country with the who are with the valid visa, then we are going to do the same, with the exception of the Sikh pilgrims, because it is a religious matter and Pakistan respects that religion. And of course, we know that Pakistan is as important to Sikhs as Saudi Arabia is important to Muslims. So to me, I think it's the best solution from the government side, and a very heart-filled statement that has come around, and that too is with full of the sentiments. And when it comes to India thinking about doing an adventure or misadventure once more, of course Pakistan is ready. Pakistan is ready since, extra ready since the day they have started chanting about, crossing LOC. But Pakistan's military, Pakistan's Air Force, Pakistan's naval forces, they are ready 24/7 to face whatever the menace is coming from the across. And in this current scenario, of course, whatever is going to be initiated from the Indian side, of course, it will be replied with double the magnitude. And to me, I think that's how it should be, because a country that requires to be, or that wants to be a hegemon towards all of the neighboring countries, it is hegemon to other countries. And now, of course, Bangladesh has shown them that they can't be hegemon or bully towards them. And now, once again, Pakistan will do that. If Pakistan did it in past, in February 2019, they didn't listen at that time. Now, if they want to try it again, they must try it, and they will be seeing the same music that they faced last time around. Overall, how I see it, why they're doing it, to me, the kind of statements and the kind of sermons they have been addressing to Modi and Amit Shah and the likes of others, what they are trying to suggest is that they want the ultimate power in terms of doing whatever the activities they want, in terms of eliminating anyone in the guise of like, that person got eliminated just because he was involved in the terrorism. And if there is a Khalistan movement related any individual, if they want to hook him up and dun him down, then they will be claiming that he was associated with a band of terrorists and a group of terrorists, and we have actually dealt with him. And the kind of statements right now they are coming up with, what they are suggesting is that whatever they will do, it would be to counter the terrorism and to, of course, preempt the terrorism. Even if they do it in Pakistan, even if they do it clandestine activities within Pakistan, as they have been doing it before, which is against the international law, which is against the United Nations Charter. But now they want liberty in terms of dealing with all of these kind of activities. They want to legalize all of the illegal activities, and that's what they want. They want a clean chit. They want a clean chit of whatever they have been doing in past related to Khalistan, related to, of course, whatever they have been doing in Pakistan in terms of facilitating and financing terrorism. And now further down, what they want is, till now, of course, Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, as it is a bone of contention between both of the countries, after the abrogation of 370 and 35A, they have been trying their level best to create a sort of environment in which they never face any problems from the international law, from United Nations, in terms of whatever the ways they want to deal with the voices that echo in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. And I'm talking about the voices of resistance, the peaceful resistance. So far, of course, they have illegally captured and illegally arrested so many leaders of the Hurriyat, so many leaders of the people who from the within the youth who obviously raise their voices in terms of seeking freedom from the Indian side, because they are claiming that of course India is illegally occupying Jammu and Kashmir. And what they want is, they want a clear chit to do whatever they want to do a license to deal with all of these Hurriyat people, with all of these resistance people, and they want nobody to ask them any question about it. And overall situation is that they had find this a very good opportunity, while of course US Vice President J.D. Vance was in India, and while they had a very good very important trip to Saudi Arabia, they just wanted to utilize that, and that's why they staged this false flag attack. And they the kind of scenario they have built just around 200 meters away from a massive compound of the military itself. It takes place only 200 meters away from it, and it suggests that they they were just waiting for it. Once it happens, of course, straight away they will be cashing on it on the media, claiming that it was entirely related to Muslim terrorists. They were doing it against the Hindus, and they were doing it against the Westerners, they were doing it against the Israelis, and they have been claiming that one of them was Israeli, one of them was Italian. So they wanted to involve the other countries as well, so that they can they can create a sort of narrative in which they can play really well, and they can get that license to do whatever they want.
Right. And Farrukh, I want your perspective on this too, given, of course, the kind of measures that we see coming in from the National Security Committee meeting are, of course, valid, and, of course, in response to Indians' statements and, of course, the measures that they've taken. But particularly in terms of the way that this situation is currently developing, how does that seem to be developing in terms of just our bilateral relationships, and also then how is it being perceived within the region and internationally, given the fact that there's a lot of false allegations coming in from India, while of course we're putting forward our own front too.
Right, Sana, thank you very much. Just to repeat the Deputy Prime Minister of Pakistan, so far we haven't actually heard formal allegations coming from the office bearers in America, right? So far what they have done is, Ambassador Sahab was calling it knee-jerk reaction. I would call it jumping the gun. They have jumped the gun by actually declaring these policy steps that they have taken, like suspending Indus Water Treaty or asking Pakistanis to leave. But so far we have neither seen any evidence from India. Okay, don't show it to the world, but they haven't, right? Nor there has been any formalization of accusation or allegation. So one has to ask, why the hell are you doing this?
But
right?
Isn't that being connected with Belgaum though?
Yeah, it is, but they haven't actually stated that Pakistanis did it or Pakistan did it, right? The media is bonkers, and everybody knows, nobody takes it seriously, right? If these, somebody sane was sitting in near Delhi and they knew their own media, they should have actually given everyone a portable nuke and asked them to walk to the border and explode it there themselves, because these people are so full of hate, right? These media anchors and these experts, the guys with long flowing mustaches and whatnot, right? There must be overcompensation of some sort that is going on, but regardless, it is what it is. Pakistan's reaction, Sana, has been restrained, measured, and it has only answered whatever India was doing. Usually it happens, if they expel their diplomats, our diplomats, we expel theirs as well. If they ask Pakistanis to get out of their country, we ask Indians to get out of the country as well. We did not have Indus Water Treaty. We did not declare that, and of course Pakistan has a serious case against suspension or that declaration of suspension. But what Pakistan has done is closing its airspace for Indian, owned or operated airlines, and that's why that is the only thing that I've seen. Just we haven't escalated further, right? Unfortunately, from Indian side, you see this jingoism, which is a characteristic of fascism. For example, today what you have seen is one Assam, MP was arrested. Do you know why was he arrested? A, he was a Muslim. B, he said that like Pulwama, Pahalgam was also conspiracy of Indian government. And for that, the guy was arrested by the government, right? After what happens then? After that, there was an all-parties conference, and during that, you saw what you saw. You saw Rahul Gandhi patenting the same line, anything, whatever we can do, right? You would do that because already you are being prosecuted by the law. And this is the nature of things in India. Why I call it, fascism, and why the world community doesn't seem to be paying that much attention. Otherwise, in the past, this used to be the major news in all news cycles all over the world. Why is it that the world is not spending that much time obsessing about this issue? Because they have grown tired of India's this approach. A fascist usually does one thing, Sana, they never rest. They keep on, increasing their wars, and they keep on making more enemies just so that they don't go to sleep, and their support base actually continues supporting them. And this is exactly that kind of thing that is happening. Now the question is, in 2019, we knew that there was a general election coming. At that time, whatever they did actually helped them to take over the country once again. But this time, what exactly is happening? Because the nearest election, even though today Narendra Modi, when he made his incendiary speech, it was in Bihar, where elections are going to take place. But in Bihar, elections are not due until October, November. So the question is, what exactly is going on? Then the mind goes to something else that was very important, and that was dominating India's news cycles before this, and that is US-India relations, especially the American demand that there should be some concessions trade-wise, economy-wise from India. So I think that India is about to actually make some major sacrifices or concessions, and that's why this is their technique, their usual flex to divert attention. Give the media this hate-filled, screech to continue against Pakistan, and then you can get away with any kind of concessions to any other countries, right? So this seems to be the case right now. I'm hoping in coming days there won't be too much escalation, and they will realize that it is better to localize the matter rather than make it international. But then the question still stands, why the hell did you block or threaten to suspend IWT? By the way Indian media actually keeps on reporting is astounding. I mean, India hasn't diverted waters so far. It has only made a statement about suspending this said treaty. But they are actually showing as if they have already done it. Similarly, Pakistan has only talked about possibility of suspending Shimla agreement, but it seems that Indian media is, really convinced that Pakistan has already suspended it, and this is what to talk about their trigger-happy media. Even the moderates like Indian Express are also reporting that Pakistan has suspended it. For heaven's sake, there is a clear statement, just read it. There is a readout, and the readout says that Pakistan reserves the right to suspend it because water diversion will be considered an act of war, and that is true. If you are going to actually try to impoverish an entire population, if you are going to deprive them of something as basic as water, and there is an agreement. By the way, if you think that all this water is created somehow in India, that is not true. India is upper riparian country for us. There are other countries like China, for instance. Then there is always a possibility that they exist a tap over there as well, and they can also suffer. With this kind of mentality and this kind of stupidity that we have seen from India, I'm sorry, throughout my life, I've been actually, look, I'm a peace lover. I'm a peace loving citizen. I've never deliberately even killed a sparrow. And I don't understand this mentality where people just want to fight all the time. But it is astounding the way, you know, foam is flowing from people's mouth, the way they are just spewing hate. I mean, who can hate any country, let alone a people of 250 million, this much as Indian media and politicians seem to do? So I'm hoping that sanity eventually prevails and they realize that this issue can be localized, and then they actually walk back these strange kind of activities. Otherwise, what will happen, Sana? At this moment, the international systems or guardrails that used to be there to ensure that there shouldn't be any serious escalation beyond reason that can be stopped, those are not there. We are in a state of transition. And it speaks to, perhaps, I keep on talking about the possibility of AI just abolishing humanity, and he is a proof, a textbook proof, that in the age, at the dawn of AI's age, we are threatening each other with the use of nukes. What else speaks to the stupidity of humanity?
Right. Dr. Jamil, I want your perspective on this too, and add to that with reference to the ways that we're actually going to be moving the direction forward in terms of violations of international law. So we spoke about how the Indus Water Treaty has been suspended, and I understand that the action still hasn't been taken. But with reference to the ways in which this posture is being put forward, and the fact that this is an agreement and understanding that is reportedly being suspended, I want your take then on how is it that we're going to be taking this forward on international platforms such as the UNSC, particularly when we haven't had that kind of success given the unilateral actions of 2019 in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, when even that was a blatant violation.
And Dr. Jamil, if you can also highlight, because in this whole scenario of Indus Water Treaty, of course, it's not about two parties, it's about the three parties, because the third party is World Bank. Can we expect that World Bank, being a responsible third party, can go to United Nations Security Council or International Court of Justice to seek justice for its own treaty, because it's a valued party to it?
Dr. Jamil, you have to unmute yourself. We're unable to hear you.
Yeah, basically they are the guarantor, and they are the one they've been always monitoring that there shouldn't be any violation. But there are three-tier system under which the World Bank can intervene, and the tier one is the first course of action is the bilateral, which is in this case now becoming impossible with India. The second tier is the nomination or the appointment of the neutral experts. Again, there is a whole mechanism how those 7-member neutral experts are appointed. That's under the Article number 9 of Indus Water Treaty. And the third one is the tribunal, and that is where the World Bank also come in. So far as the International Court of Justice, those provisions are not there in the treaty, and the way things are now developing, it attracts the international, it attracts the charter, United Nations Charter, which assures or which monitors the international peace, basically. And once that is suspected, then Security Council the session is called. So that is one aspect. And second aspect is, yes, the International Court of Justice can be approached by the affected countries and affected parties. Pakistan can do that after exhausting its courses of action. So that is one, the first part which Sana was asking me about, and that is the other courses of action, what we can do. So one is what is given in the Indus Water Treaty. The second course of action is there are three streams only available to resolve any matter which can escalate and which can become an issue for the entire region, or it can escalate and harm can really start endangering the peace of the area, or it affects the world. The one course of action is the legal diplomacy, and in which all these treaties and all these international laws they come in, which means we can also requisition the Security Council session, and Security Council session, any member 50, out of those 15 can requisition, and then once that is requisition, the problem is that P5 countries, for scheduling of that P5 countries, consensus is important. So in this case, the way I can see the declassified document of the United States, which they have declassified just 3 days ago, and in that one of the documents discusses India and Pakistan being a nuclear state, and discusses some of the escalation points, and suspects that if there is any escalation, then it could affect the region, not only region, but it can affect the world in terms of climate change, in terms of the food security, in terms of contamination and all, because these two countries are the nuclear armed country. So that is given in that document, which is released only about 3 days ago. So having that in mind, it appears that we can invoke the legal diplomacy, and once we invoke, then we can even go to the Security Council, or even requisition the General Assembly session. These are the legal diplomacy. The traditional diplomacy, again, equally important, is that Pakistan do have its friends, and then there are countries who are quite concerned and worried in the neighborhood, or in the regional countries, because they would be affected more than the countries transatlantic country. So and they are our friends basically. So we can always approach them to really assert their pressure. And I'm indicating our very good friends in Gulf countries. Uh, that is the traditional diplomacy. Through traditional diplomacy, we can do it. The third one is the public diplomacy, which can counter the info war, which is part of the fourth and fifth generation war, which India is adopting, and they have already been caught in Europe while they were running info lab in hundreds. So the public diplomacy has to be augmented from our side and along with our friends, which could counter India's this. So there are only three courses of action in the general domain, and three courses of action available in the interwater in the Indus Water Treaty. But other than that, yes, Pakistan was very candid, because Pakistan wants, and they know how to really to protect its national integrity, protect its sovereignty, and they have been very candid in the national our council, the Security Council, and its deliberation, that how Pakistan would respond if India, the way they are escalating, if they try and do any adventure, Pakistan is well prepared, and Pakistan can respond equally, if not more strongly. So we have been able to very clearly indicate that what we are going to do. We know that India is trying to exploit our economic situation. They have done it already, such as the FATF. They tried to just push us in the blacklist, but then we had some friends, and we could steer out of it. We could navigate from there. And India now is trying to put pressure that they can escalate it, and they can also try and do some adventure. We have responded, and in our press conference, our Deputy Prime Minister, our Defense Minister, they were very clear and very candid that what the Pakistan would be able to do it. Water terrorism or water as a means of weapon, that has also been spelled out from our side. If that is done, then we have also shown them what is our red line. And after that, now the world community, we expect in their own interest, as I was mentioning, about the leakage of that document, about the declassification of that document, and the psyche of the world. It appears that they would, through the quiet diplomacy or through the platform like a Security Council General Assembly, they would try and intervene that. So that is the only hope. But then you can expect anything from the RSS propelled and fueled government,
Right,
which is BJP
absolutely,
government.
absolutely.
You can
That's all we
expect
have time for.
anything.
Ambassador Saab, thank you so much for joining us and being a part of the debate. Farrukh, you wanted to add something very
Yeah,
quickly?
I just wanted to remind everybody that 1 month ago, exactly 1 month ago, I had requested in India and Pakistan not to internationalize Kashmir because we have seen two episodes, one of Gaza and the other one of Ukraine, where both these regions seem to be losing themselves to this, major superpower, right? And with that, it was prudent not to actually create such a kind of situation. But I mean, Indian geniuses are amazing. They just want to lose it rather than use it.
Right. Thank you very much, Farrukh. Thank you, Faisal, for joining us in the debate. As always, that's all that we have time for. We'll now see you tomorrow.